It is not the employee or manager's job to diagnose their employees.
And it's also not appropriate.
And it's not appropriate.
Yeah.
Just because Dr. Romney has given you a list of signs and you see the signs does not mean all of a sudden you can point at somebody and go, they have depression.
No.
That's not what this
They
is.
may also not like the job anymore.
Right.
You know, they're like, I don't like this anymore. I'm trying to get out. I don't care for this anymore. Maybe I'll get fired. Like, there's a million stories, but but on a long list of differentials, this is definitely one we should keep in mind. Instead of this person's lazy and doesn't care, it could very well, maybe this person's depressed.
What are the signs that somebody is experiencing a mental health issue in the workplace?
There may be changes in their schedule, coming in late, needing to leave early. They may be more lethargic or apathetic than usual. They may be missing deadlines. They may be less talkative in meetings relative to how they usually are. They may not be meeting performance metrics, not closing as many sales, not, whatever widget they make in that workplace, they're not doing the thing that they're needed to do. Their work may be coming in with more errors. They may be seemingly more, again, socially withdrawn from their coworkers, less likely to come to work events. They might be the person who went to social hours or happy hours or that kind of thing. They don't do that anymore. They may, in the more extreme, it could be that they're so tired from maybe not being able to sleep enough that they're drowsy at work, or they're actually almost more disheveled at work. They're not putting themselves together as well. You can see that there's someone who's more careful about their appearance, and that's not the case. So changes. You're always looking for changes. When we're looking about mental health effects, it's usually things were one way and then they shift.
And so we shot a series on trauma. And we also talked about how identifying those changes could indicate a traumatic event. So when would the changes that we look out for indicate a possible traumatic event rather than a possible case of depression, or both?
I think that it may be the pattern you see. So for example, with depression, you're more likely to see things like apathy, like less motivation to get things done, less endurance for the workday, maybe a little bit more, potentially more irritability, maybe a sense of like drowsiness or tiredness, just a lower overall energy, poorer concentration. Those are the kinds of things you might see in a person who is struggling with depression, because those symptoms are much more specific to depression. Whereas with trauma, we were seeing things like being hypervigilant and being hyper-aroused, and it's panicky and experiencing these kinds of these re-experiencing symptoms, and it looks different, it feels different.
If I view some of those signs that you just listed on one day, I might write that off as others having a day. Sure. We all have days. So how many days in a row would we want to see before we make a conclusion?
We do all have days. We do all have that one report we handed in, it's not up to snuff. We do have the thing that we missed the deadline on. Like we don't always get it right. It's a question of how many not rights. Like if you're used to someone who gets it right 90 to 100% of the time, they get it wrong once, you'll say, okay, fine. They get it wrong twice, that might be literally when you start taking notice, when it's on a succession of days, when it's over a longer period of time, like you're observing this over weeks or months. There's, again, you're right, at a one-off, you don't want to sort of, God, they must be depressed.
Right. I watched the series on MedCircle.
Versus like maybe they're, I don't know, maybe that they may have had a great time the night before, and maybe too great a time, and they didn't go to bed till 4 o'clock in the morning, kind of thing. You want to be aware, but so a pattern isn't just a one-off. You're looking for things to have changed over time, and you're comparing it to their baseline work behavior.
I want to make a point here, and I hope I'm not stepping out of line. I'm not the psychologist, but it is not the employee or manager's job to diagnose their employees.
And it's also not appropriate.
And it's not appropriate.
Yeah.
Just because Dr. Romney has given you a list of signs and you see the signs does not mean all of a sudden you can point at somebody and go, they have depression. That's not what this is.
They may also not like the job anymore.
Right.
They're like, I don't like this anymore. I'm trying to get out. I don't care for this anymore. Maybe I'll get fired. Like there's a million stories, but but on a long list of differentials, this is definitely one we should keep in mind. Instead of this person's lazy and doesn't care, it could very well, maybe this person's depressed.
If you like psychology and learning about mental health and want to learn more while meeting other people who are interested, explore your membership options using the link below this video or visit medcircle.com.
Final thoughts on any signs that we need to look out for in the workplace?
The workplace, almost like looking at a kid in school. The workplace is grown-up school, right? And they're the people who see you often day in and day out. So they will notice a change, okay? And you will, again, whether it's because work has schedules, work has expectations, work has standards. So any variance off of that, people notice. I'm gonna be frank with you, Kyle. As a therapist, what always amazes me, like, I have off days. Certainly I didn't sleep as well. I might have been traveling. My clients notice. They're like, Doc, what's up? You good? Like, it is amazing how tuned in they are. And I'll sometimes say, oh, I'm so sorry. I was just dealing with a roofing contractor right before you called. Let me get undistracted. That's why it's my job to make sure I'm in the room.
Yeah.
But it becomes an important space for me to say, how nice of you to notice, because that's something that's really speaking to their empathy and all. That's why we use it as a tool to build from. But people notice.
Yeah.
And when you notice, that's when, you know what the most humane thing a manager can do? If you notice that something has changed more than one time for an employee of yours, take them aside and say, hey, is everything okay?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like, your work is bad, is everything great? But is everything okay? You doing okay? People desperately want to be seen and heard and understood.
Yeah.
And sometimes all it is that one kind voice that reaches in and asks you, are you okay? For a person to say, you know what, it's been a little bit of a rough patch for me. And then you think, wow, this wasn't even easy for them to come in at all today. So even if they're not hitting all their marks, this was not easy. And then say, as their manager, how can I help?
I remember one time I was going through it at an old job I had. Through it. And my manager, my supervisor, Laura, came in and she just said, you don't seem like your sameness. That's how she said it.
That's sweet.
And I go, oh, I think I lied even. I think I was like,
Most
oh,
of
no,
us
sorry,
do.
I was dilly-dallying, I'm fine. And I wasn't. But it showed me two things. One, that someone was paying attention to me.
Yeah.
And even though they were noticing this not undesirable behavior or feeling, I still liked that I was being noticed. And she was comfortable enough to approach me about it. And we never talked about it. There was never a conclusion, but I thought, wow, how nice to feel seen by my supervisor in that way. Yeah.
But you also have to keep this in mind too. So many people who are experiencing mental health issues often have other thoughts and feelings. Things like, I'm worthless, I'm no good. They feel guilty, they feel shamed. And so for them sometimes it's overcompensatory to keep showing up to work. Like, I'm already flawed. There's a perfectionism. It almost becomes a protection. So they will push themselves to go to work when in fact, a couple of days off could be all they need to recalibrate. You hear more and more talk in the popular purview of things like mental health days, that people grant themselves. Think about it, Kyle. People think nothing of missing a day of work because they're running a fever. In fact, you're not supposed to go to work. It's very rare that people say, you know what, my psyche doesn't feel good today. I just need to stay home. You do that, and a lot of people brand it as a weakness, as selfish, as playing hooky. It's a fever. It's a psychological fever. And sometimes just a day can stave off a more significant issue down the road.
That's right.